Now, for more analysis into the budget, we are now being joined by Niranjan Hiranandani, the Indian billionaire entrepreneur, co-founder and managing director of the Hiranandani Group, to help us get further insights and, in a sense, decode this budget. Mr. Hiranandani, thanks for joining us on WION The World is One.
My pleasure to be with you today.
All right, my first question to you, I want to cut through the jargon a bit and start off with a rather loaded question. They usually use big terms like the big bang budget, hit or miss, or bold to describe a certain budget. How would you describe the same, and what stood out for you in particular?
I think a lot of it is focused on digital, whether it is cryptocurrency takeover by the Reserve Bank of India, e-commerce, data center operations, payment platforms to be taken up. I think this was a major direction in which it is there. Manufacturing and other aspects of it were also focused. But the biggest story, I think, would be infrastructure. I think the focus on infrastructure is important, especially urban infrastructure, understanding the fact that population is going to become more urbanized in the next couple of years. More than 50% of the population of India in the next 10 years will be staying in urban areas rather than rural areas. So I think these shifts are definitely taking up. But the new ideas and thoughts are also coming up. A little disappointed on the real estate sector, especially the middle class, who are expecting some sort of relief, especially in the case of loans and other items of interest and amount paid to financial institutions, an expectation that that would be increased from 2 lakhs to at least 5 lakhs, because that is stagnant there for the last 10 years. So I think some disappointment among this segment. But on the other hand, if you look at it, the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana is looking at 80 lakh new beneficiaries,
right.
An amount of 48,000 crores. This may not be applicable to urban areas like Mumbai, Delhi, Bangalore, because the price point of the apartments has to be less than 45 lakhs. And in urban areas, because of land values and others, the price of tenements are higher. And though there is affordability of the thing, the price is higher because people take more loans than others. So I think something the middle class has missed in this segment, especially because there has been no changes in the slab rates, which was also another anticipated item. But overall, I think economy is doing well. 1,41,000 or 45,000 crores of collection in January, and hence the finance minister is quite ambitious in terms of expenditure in various segments. And I think that's a positive.
Absolutely. Now, as an entrepreneur and a seasoned businessman, I want your take on this next question, something that the Prime Minister also alluded at. What do India's young startups gain from this budget and the different announcement? Tax incentives have been announced for them. Are they happy with what's been offered?
I think the startups are definitely happy with the tax benefit has been extended by another 1 year. But the point is not that. The startups, there is a direction to which startups have been given. And that, I think, is much more important. For example, when they talk about drone technology, he's talking about access of this technology available for the purposes of startup. A large number of startups don't make profit even in the first 3 years. So those are the challenges of startups. But nevertheless, the focus on encouraging startups, getting unicorns off the ground and seeing to it that benefit is there, definitely a direction in which startups are to be encouraged. And the kind of assistance being given to them is definitely a good policy to do. Another aspect of it, which is very important, the ease of doing business. They have done a lot of progress in the real estate sector, but it is clear to the finance minister that that is not sufficient enough. And still there is a long way to go. And hence there is a direction in which they are setting up a committee which would actually look into the issues relating to a high-level committee on the urban sector and drive modernization of building bylaws, reforms and transit-oriented reforms. So I think they've realized that unless you don't have ease of doing business in this segment, it's not really going to work out. So the direction and focus in terms of enabling factors, the ability to be able to file revised returns is a pragmatic approach instead of having the litigious approach which was earlier. So I think a lot of process-driven thought has been given in the budget. And of course, the devil is in the detail. Once we go into the details of all the segments of it, we'll come to know how much we have succeeded and how far are they already gone or are willing to go. But obviously, the infrastructure focus is a positive story. Without that and housing, you cannot reach the $5 trillion economy, nor give employment to the segment.
Absolutely.
One other thing I thought must be mentioned is about the issue of those segments which were languishing during COVID time. For example, the travel, tourism, that part of it, hospitality sector, aviation. Some focus on that sector is finally come. But let's see if it is good enough for bringing that sector out of the troubles it is there today.
Right, absolutely. Mr. Hiranandani, this budget is coming at a time when the world at large has been fighting, in a sense, the worst calamity, the pandemic, something that the Indian Prime Minister just alluded at. Let's talk about another key highlight, something that social media is abuzz with. A digital rupee using blockchain and other technologies will be introduced with a tax of 30% on digital assets. From what I gather, there's been a mixed bag of responses to this. What's your take?
No, I think the control mechanism going to the Reserve Bank of India is a good idea, because ultimately there were no regulations in force for managing this aspect of it. And I think that's extremely important that we have an agency which should take it. Whether it should be taxed at 30% or I thought it would be at a lower percentage, I think that's a different story completely. Maybe they don't want rapid transactions to take place in this segment. What is the issue? I'm not aware about it in great detail. But the fact that it should be controlled by the Reserve Bank of India and regulated is a good thing, because we have seen people who are uneducated in this line losing a lot of money at times, of course, making a lot of money at times also. So I think the government has found that this was an easy make money for people investing into cryptocurrency, and hence the taxability was brought into fore.
Absolutely. Mr. Hiranandani, thank you so much for all those insights and perspective into the Union Budget 2022. Thanks so much for speaking to us here at WION World is One. WION World is One is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news updates on the move.